Welcome everybody. As you're rolling in here at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, thanks for hanging out with me and Claire Venus. We're talking about all the fun stuff that Substack's doing lately and how it could benefit your newsletter above and beyond.
Yeah, that's it. And I think, we started with one topic and now I think we've got about six.
There's a
So when we were like,
handful.
yeah, we'll jump on a live next week, it was like about one thing, maybe two, and now there's so many things. So yeah, there's a few changes, there's a few things, and like I like to describe it as the attention economy. So as newsletter curators and people that use Substack and use the Substack app, we are being really mindful now that there are a whole load of things to do when you go on there. So you've got to be quite measured about what you're going on there to do. And especially if you are curating your own newsletter, like you've definitely got to keep some of those distractions out because otherwise we're not going to get the work done, are we? So it does feel like that's been the biggest shift of shifts recently.
Yes, because as you well know, me writing Social Media Escape Club has been all about avoiding the distractions of like, not getting lost on Instagram, not getting lost spending all your time on Facebook. And for a while now, I mean, Substack Notes and the Substack app has been distracting, but I feel it's great in two ways, though, because
Mm,
one, I see so much great stuff on here.
yeah,
Thankfully, the algorithm for me gives me wonderful photographers and art and this and that. It's so great. But also, too, here we're building an email list,
hmm,
which, through 2, 3 years or months from now, if everything goes away, we have an email list that we could take with
yeah,
us. Whereas that
yeah.
I was on Twitter since 2006, and that all went that was gone forever when I left
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely that part of it, isn't there, where we're like, whatever happens with everybody's attention, there's a person's email that we have that we can pop into their email inbox and we can tell them, hey, like here's some stuff that I want to talk about. Here's a class that I've got going on next week. Like it feels like we're not there's no risk there. If I was posting that on Instagram, I would know that, okay, like maybe 10% of my people will see it. A lot of them are probably like people who aren't even interested in my work. So, whereas with Substack, it's nice to be able to set out your stall and say, hey, this is what I'm about. So, for me, Creatively Conscious is behind the scenes of my business and like life stuff, like what it's like to live on the Northumberland coast in the UK. And then Sparkle on Substack is staying creative on Substack, being a newsletter curator, but also bringing in some of your creativity and trying new things. And like we're all community over there. But that said, the same questions pop up again and again, and one of them is this kind of buy me a coffee button, and that space of feeling safe to be paid, so feeling safe to set up paid subscriptions on Substack. And this seems to be like a bridge the gap almost, like, oh well, if I just try a sort of buy me a coffee, or change the language and be a bit quirky, and you can buy me a book and stuff like that. So it does crop up in my membership now and again, and I do see it on notes. So we said we would talk about what we kind of made of all of that, and like whether we've done it, and then obviously people can ask questions and stuff, and then we can talk about some of the other stuff that's been rolling out on Substack and how we feel about all that too.
yeah, totally. I see the that kind of donation thing pop up a lot from people that are like, I can't afford all these Substacks, and I just want to support some people.
Hmm, hmm.
And adding those, buy me a coffee or the Kofi, or however you say it,
Yeah,
KOFI. There's a bunch of them.
yeah.
For a long time, when I was starting out, I started my Substack in 2021. I had in
Hmm.
the footer of mine all those links. You can buy
Yeah,
me a coffee on Kofi. Here's my
yeah,
PayPal link. Here's this.
yeah,
Here's that. And my experience was I maybe made $20 off that over
yeah,
three
yeah,
years. Like
yeah.
no one was it wasn't prominent. I didn't put it at the top. I was one of the
But
like
it's in the footer.
in the
Mm.
footer, it was down at the bottom. Hey, if you like this work, here's this thing. And a couple people pitched in. I'm thankful for that. But like
Yeah.
it wasn't anything huge. And I will say that, like, for me, the paid subscription does better. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
because and I guess, and I'll say this too, my paid subscription, my paid offering took years for me to figure out.
Yeah.
So the buy me a coffee thing, whatever, it can't hurt. It's
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
like hurt your publication or whatever like that. If people over the time want to chip in and buy you a coffee, great, cool.
It's nice,
Uh,
isn't it? There's nice. It's a nice setup around the generosity economy, right? So if we are given that prompt, like I know how I feel, like I don't buy anyone a coffee, right? Because I am like really measured where I spend money because I had to live in scarcity for so long in the arts and cultural career that I had. So anytime I spent anything, especially to do with like work and self development, it was very measured. So with that, I nearly did it once and then it was quite complicated to set up an account and I was just like impatient. I didn't have time. So I don't even click them. But I'm in the minority. I know there's lots of people that are like, sure, like this has been really helpful. I'll buy you a coffee. And for the person putting it there, I think that there is that kind of place of testing your nervous system around how it feels to ask to be paid. So because I had a freelance business before I started my business, and so I was used to that already, and I already had done all the uncomfortable stuff around chasing for invoices and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't need that kind of step before. When I came to Substack, I was like, oh, well, it's like $7 a month. So, like, that's great. Like, here's all this amazing stuff that you get for that. And that's how I set it up. But I think when people are deciding whether they want to turn on paid subscriptions or not, or just feeling into like, how would it actually feel to be paid for something that I've created, something that's either in service or my art or whatever, I think it's really expansive to put that button there and feel good about it. Don't do it because somebody else did it. Like, do it because you want to do it and you want to see what happens and you want to be in that dialogue with your audience and your readers, because there's definitely people that do press the button, isn't there? I think sometimes, it's that whole thing, and you'll know about this as well, Seth. In terms of marketing speak, we don't want to give people too many options because then they just freeze and don't do any of them. So I'm constantly testing that, and I've got a call about this next week, which is around calls to action, because you can't just put loads of different calls to action in your Substack. People are like, like, just go to jelly. So if it is very purposeful, come to this class next week, upgrade to pay so you can come, like I just make that's the call to action. Like, people know they can leave comments and stuff like that, and I might say that as well, but oftentimes I don't. Oftentimes I'm like, here's the action, and then everything else is like more gentle invites. So I feel really comfortable with that because I like being clear, and people say that they appreciate me being clear. So I feel like that bit is helpful as well. But yeah, I mean, I just think with the whole kind of creative industry and holding a newsletter audience, like, you've got to try stuff out that feels good to you, haven't you? And these things exist. They didn't exist on the internet like 10 years ago or whatever. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot wrapped up in the money part of it, because I mean, there's still a lot of, and for good reason. There's people like, oh, everything should just be free and open and out there and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
you're free to have it free and open and all that. And I see that discourse too. Oh, if I'm
Yeah.
reading a post and a paywall comes up, I'm out of it. Okay, cool. Then you don't. I'd love to go down the street and get my pizza for free too, but I can't. Well, that's different. No, it's not. People
No, it's
worked and put the and made a
yeah.
pizza. Like, I
We get to
just
decide. Yeah.
just because I sit here and write does not make my labor or my efforts zero. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that I feel has come from way back in the day, the Napster thing, when
Mm-hmm.
all music just became free. And there
Oh
was
yeah.
that whole like, oh, music should be free. It should be free. Like, if you want to make your music free, cool.
Yeah.
But like, don't take that out of my hands.
Yeah,
That's a
that was
piracy thing,
that
but I
was a
think it just
wild that
goes,
was a wild time,
that
Seth.
was, that was,
I just like literally flashed back to like straight out of university. We had a house. We had no
hmm
money to have a house, me and my friends. Somebody had it on a computer, and we had the best time listening to all of the songs. But we'd just done an arts degree, so it's like it was such a conflict, but it was like, this is us living our life. Like, we've got to eat toast for dinner, but we can dance to all of this amazing music that we've never owned. And of course, like, it doesn't last. Like, I don't know what happened after that, like we had it for about a year or whatever. But that
hmm
was wild. Like, it was just all on there for free, all of it.
so wild. and
Yeah.
and and two and in the online media world as well, there's a lot of publications that can have everything out and open for free,
Yes.
because they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
funding, because they sell a lot of ads, because maybe they
Yeah.
do events. They have things
Yeah.
that can subsidize that free work, that
Yeah.
free publication. And it's just little old me sitting here doing this.
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
or wherever we are doing our thing. So
We get to decide, don't we? Like some
yes.
people want to invest thousands of dollars in Facebook and Instagram ads to drive a Substack audience. Cool, that's excellent. I
Hmm.
do not do that. And so, that's where I sit. So, what I do put out to try and grow my free subscribers is very conscious and very in service. And it's like it's for them. And like, if you're going to hang out for free forever, you're so welcome. And this is awesome that you're here. And can you support everybody else's work? And I love all that stuff. If I was at like, I don't know, like if I was at 60,000 free subscribers or something, that might be too much to manage, to put a post
Mm,
out for free and leave the comments open. I don't know, because I'm not there. So I do think we just get to decide, don't we, like how we want to
yes.
run it all, and how we want to hold as we are growing and as we are growing the paid side of what we do as well.
Well, that brings me to like a musician. Like, if you want to be a musician and play popular things, poppy music, familiar, uh, cute melodies, all that stuff, great. That'll
Mm-hmm.
do great. That'll go well. But if you're like, no, I want to make 30-minute single songs that are
Yeah.
dark and oppressive, and this, like, that might not be as popular. But you
Mm-hmm.
get to decide. Like, just you
Mm-hmm.
get to make what you want to make. Now, once you make that and share it with the world, it's out of your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we have a comment here from Lily Pond that says that they took off their paywall. I need to protect sensitive content. I totally get that. Put a paywall on those. The result is no one wants to pay and read it. How do you handle this? You it's up to them. You know what and I don't mean to
And
get, but
and
like,
and is it no one? Like, sorry to interrupt there, Seth, but
oh,
sometimes we tell ourselves no one, right? And then it's
mhm,
like, is it no one or is it one person? Like, is that helpful to one person and you just haven't found them yet, or they haven't found you yet? Like, there is this whole push pull, and it comes up a lot in the Substack audits that I do. So, some people will be at a 1% paid conversion rate, other people will be at a 10% paid conversion rate. Nobody's better in any of that. That's just what's happened because of their
mhm,
audience behavior and how they've met their content or posts or videos or calls or whatever it's been. So it's really interesting to me because the language that we use is that language of like, this is definitely a truth. And I guess I'd want
mm,
to go under that and be like, is it? Like, is it the truth? Like, have your paid subscribers stalled? Where's your energy in that? Is it because you've pulled back? Is it because you think they've stalled and like you're getting the stage fright when you're coming to write something? Like, we're in a dance with this stuff all of the time. And if we were doing this stuff off Substack's social network, like some people obviously do have boundaries around notes and stuff like that, but a lot of the time it's all messy. We're on there, we're reading for pleasure, we're doing our good work in the world, we're replying to a member, we're replying to a paid subscriber, somebody else wants to know something over here. And so it's like a whole big sea of things, and we can't help but get influenced. So my big thing, and I can't remember whether we spoke about this last time, but on notes it seemed to be all I saw was like Substack educators, rah, 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 like da, da, da. Oh, it's like a pyramid scheme, and it was like just these big old rants, and then everyone was piling on. But it wasn't everyone, was it? Because I've got my
mhm,
beautiful community. It was just what I was seeing. So all I did
mhm.
was just mute all of that stuff, because that will all be there and that will be ferocious, and it'll be its own part of the internet. But Substack is the internet. Substack is a version of the World Wide Web now. I clicked on the bestsellers tab the other day and saw things that were like so gross that I would never ever read around British politics. And I was like, what's
Mm,
the matter with people? And I was like, oh, it's the internet, Claire. You've just clicked on the entire internet. So
yeah.
closing down that echo chamber, muting all the stuff, teaches the algorithm and then gets you back in the position and the driving seat of doing your best work. And then I think that voice that's saying nobody wants to pay will be a bit kinder, and that voice will be
Mm.
like, somebody wants to pay sometime, maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe they're already there, but like they're having a hard time and they can't afford it. So I do think there's a lot there for us, isn't there, to like be really conscious and like careful with ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. To this person's point, they said they offered a 7-day free trial so
Nice.
they can read, but zero people signed up. That okay. I have, put it all out there. I have over 6,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been sending out like, hey, I have a special on my, I turned my birthday is May 21st, so it's 21%
Happy
off till my
birthday.
birthday. Thank you. May 21st. We're almost there. 21% off. I sent that to 6,000 people a couple
Mm-hmm.
times now.
Mm-hmm.
No one's busting down my door for it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's
Mhm.
6,000, like a couple times. Like
Mhm.
it's gonna take me sending that a couple more times all the way to May 21st
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
And
And that thing, people do appreciate a deadline. Like, we are busy and distracted. The internet keeps us that way. And I've lent into it now, but I used to find it really difficult to send that last email to be like, final
eh,
call. Like, because you're just like, oh, I don't know whose jacket I've put on, but like, it's really uncomfortable and heavy. And I just feel really gross. And what are people going to think? And the unsubscribes are going to be, all of that stuff's true.
mhm,
But guess what? People buy. Loads of them buy when you say, this is the final call. Like, it is closing, doors are closing, the discount's finishing, whatever it is, because that's how humans work. Like, we can't do anything about the fact that humans work that way. And I teach all of that within Sparkle on Substack, and I teach the feeling of working through it all and knowing that it doesn't feel icky. I said to a client today, you know, it's more around aligning our energy, because yes, I will get unsubscribes, but I usually get around about the same number paying as I do unsubscribing. And maybe I was never for those people in the first place, and they, ended up there accidentally, or thought it was something else, or maybe my accent really annoys them. Like, it's not really of my concern, is it? It's like, that's
mhm.
cool. Like, you get to move on and do your thing, and I'm going to hold these people over here. But it's just like a big game, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. I mean, in my day job, I do freelance email marketing for a big record label.
Mm-hmm.
We work with big names, like
Mm-hmm.
people, Grammy nominated winning names that people know. And we send emails to people that have bought records from those bands before,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to send them multiple times
Yeah, multiple
because not
times.
every, we can't just say, hey, this new record is out and never send it again until the record comes out. We do it week after week. Like
Mm-hmm.
we break it
Mm-hmm.
up, and oh, this week they have a new video out, so we're just letting you know about the new video. Like
Yeah.
we're as Cody Cook Parrott called it, creative bothering. We get
Creative bothering.
creative, and
I love that.
we
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
creative in how we bother people. Like
Yeah.
we're not marketing, but like, oh, they have a video. We think you'd like to know that they have a video,
Yeah.
and so there's lots of creative ways to do that, and to be, as Lily said, they need to work on their tenacity. Yeah,
Mm.
we collectively need to get over like, oh, I don't want to be too salesy, but like, as much as we think everyone on our subscriber list opens every one of our emails, they don't. And
No, they
like our
don't.
biggest fans,
Yeah.
like, oh, they open up all my emails. No, they don't. They skip weeks. Like, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why we need to keep sending stuff week after week. And again, not like shouting all the time about it, but like
Mm.
here it's up top, here it's in the or whatever, however we do it. But like
Yeah.
there's just that's just how the internet works. Not
It
everyone sees all your stuff.
That's it. And there's been so much within my own nervous system that I've been able to lean into around that, because I felt physically sick, like physically sick every time I sent an email. And so there was a lot of healing work around what that was actually about. Like, some of it is being visible as a woman, some of it
Mm.
is like the people who were on that list and trying to work out like, oh, well, what will they think and what will they think? I don't feel sick at all. I feel joyful now. I'm just like, here we go, guys. I've got some great stuff for you. Or here's a roundup. Or I'm so excited about class next week. Like, all of that has been a creative practice. And I get really excited about that for people, because just because you feel a certain way now doesn't mean you're going to feel that certain way in 6 months' time. In fact, you're not. If you keep showing up, you will feel differently, and you'll have a different set of responses and all that sort of thing. The main thing, I think, with the way Substack works is just knowing that whatever you are shown on there is all going into your nervous system and all kind of going through your brain and like into your heart and kind of telling you things about yourself. And actually, all that matters is the communication between you and your readers, and really you understanding who's there to read your work, who's there to pay to read it, who's there to pay to come to classes and stuff like Seth and I do. That's the most important bit. And it does take like some resilience, I think, in just knowing that Substack is going to try and put things in front of us that maybe just aren't for us. But we can. I mean, I've taught the algorithm really well. It knows me really well now. So it's like me and the algorithm are friends. So I'm chill.
Yeah, I'm chill with the Substack notes for sure.
Yeah.
It's so chill that I sometimes need to delete the app from my phone
Yeah.
because I spend a little too much time on there.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a real thing.
But then I reinstall it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, same. I think that's good though anyway, because we are not our phones, are we? So like,
Mm,
if like I can feel it happening where it's like, because I don't have notifications on my phone, but I can feel myself, okay, I've been in WhatsApp, now I've gone onto Instagram, now I'm back on Substack, and it's like a little loop that I do, and I'm like, whoa, like what am
yep.
I doing, and so normally for me that's like, okay, like red alert, like stop looking for the dopamine or whatever's going on, like it's good, like you're good, you've done your work and we're done. So yeah, there is that part, isn't there, that's just like understanding like how much tolerance we've got for being fed information. And I
Hmm.
know if I'm not able to sit and read a Substack article, I've gone too far with like the scrolls or with the like being on Instagram
Hmm.
watching reels or whatever I've done. um because I love to read articles, like genuinely love to read them. So I think that it is a funny time with Substack rolling out the thing. So like just today we've got this like video feature that looks like reels, and I think it is, I don't know, like I haven't had a chance to look into it, but it looks like it is snippets of video content, right?
Hmm.
And so it's just a faster nervous system response, because we might see something that we need to try and compute next to somebody that we really want to watch, but have we got time to watch them because we were about to cook dinner? Like it's a whole thing. So being able to consciously come to the app and know what we're there to do, I think is going to be even more important. Just going back to what I said about the main relationship that's important is the relationship between us and our readers, and then the app's going to show us all the other shiny things as well.
The biggest thing, yeah, I saw someone recently on Notes that they were just lamenting, of course, that they have no reach, no one engages, this, that, and the other. And I went to their profile and they had about 150 subscribers. It said, like, you have
Yeah.
150 subscribers.
Yeah,
Like, that's
150
amazing.
people.
Oh, that's great. Like, email them. Like,
Mhm.
because the Substack Notes thing is so alluring because it is social media. There's likes and retweets and this, that, the other. There's
Mhm.
video on there now. It's engaging. It pulls you in, and of course, you want to go on there and
Mhm.
pull the handle at the casino and try to win big. And we see it. People, oh, this one went viral. This one didn't. Or blah blah blah. Like,
Did
but
you
at
have a
the end,
viral? Did you have a viral one yet, Seth?
I think I had something that went 300 likes or something. Maybe
Yeah, I'm in the same camp. Yeah, about 300.
I
Yeah.
I have no strategy. I have no. For me, I
It's just
treat
very hard.
notes more. Look, I no, really, I treat notes more as just looking for opportunities. I
Yeah.
go on there. You and I did our first live because I just went on there and
Yeah.
saw you on there and replied to
Mm-hmm.
something, and then we did that the first time. Now this is
Yeah.
our second call.
Yeah.
There is so much opportunity for collaboration and
Yeah.
finding other people to work with and talk
Yeah.
with and like
Mm-hmm.
think about riff with people with
Mm-hmm.
that aren't just about how to win at Substack. Like
Mm-hmm.
that will be a more value for your readers and the
Mm-hmm.
other readers. And every week on my social media escape club Zoom calls, uh it's so amazing because we have photographers, we have artists, we have designers, we have musicians, we have all these different things. We're doing all these weird, whatever, different, wonderful things. We live in these wonderful artistic worlds, but and everyone can contribute to each other's plights, their
Yeah.
problems. How am I doing this? How am I doing? The photographer can talk about how they, hit up an architect
Mm-hmm.
out of the blue, like, hey, I saw this thing, and oh wait, musicians can just reach out to people at venues or non or and like we're all starting to feed all these ideas to one another, and so much of that is just opportunity. So much is
Yeah.
that just from like, let's just get a bunch of people, and there's a bunch of people on Substack Notes.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much room, there's so much opportunity there to
Yeah.
just spread ideas and rethink how we do things rather than just get 30 likes.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll go back to a teaching story. I've brought it up a couple of times in my calls, but when I first started my podcast, which is called Sparkle and Substack as well, I wrote down a list of names that I thought it would be cool to chat with, and it was literally the scariest thing. Sending those emails, every single person replied and said, "I'd love to come on your podcast." And so all of those feelings around, well, who am I to ask? Like, I haven't really got very many subscribers. Like, I'm brand new at this. Like, Substack's a brand newish platform, to like lots of us. And everyone was like, I'd love to. Cool. And so it was really interesting to me, like the stuff that we maybe put off because we're like waiting to be ready. And I think
Mm,
those casual conversations, and I've just been in an in person conference in New Orleans, Russell Nolte's Writer MBA conference. And you realize like everybody's just waiting to be your friend, like everybody's waiting to be your colleague, everybody's waiting to connect. And I think sometimes online, because of the vanity metrics, the numbers, people will be like, oh, well, I couldn't possibly like ask them because they've got this many subscribers or whatever. People love to be asked. I love to be asked. Like, I have not got a busy inbox. Like, of course, like I've got customers that need service and like my
mhm,
members need things and stuff like that. But I don't have tons and tons of like people saying, hey, come on my podcast, come and do this thing. Like, people have time. So I do think it's interesting. And also, in terms of somebody else asking you questions, I found when I was promoting the book, How to Build a World Class Substack, the favorite calls that I did to promote the book were when people just asked me questions, and then I realized that I hadn't ever been asked in that way, and so the response was different to me trying to just sit and be like, how do I write another post about the same thing? Like, there's a book, me and
mm,
Russell wrote it, you might want to buy.
mhm,
Like, so it was so revealing and so nice. I just had the best time. It's quite tiring because I'm introverted, but I do think that
mm,
there's a real opportunity there, and to sort of look through the white noise and just find those connections. And I do see people doing it and people being brave and doing a live. But if you don't want to do a live, you could do a blog hop, you could do something else, you could just do audio only podcast, you can heavily
mm,
edit it, like just do what you want, can't you? But it is fun times. I think it's still fun times in terms of discovering new people and making new connections. And that's really nice. But I think you do have to just know that if you're seeing something viral, will so will lots of other people because it's been pushed by the algorithm, and that's
mhm.
kind of it, really. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that your writing's rubbish. Like, me and Seth have never gone viral. Like, our writing is good. Like, it's fine. So there is just that bit, isn't there, of just giving yourself an easier time and like leaning into what feels good and like
Mhm.
staying in that place, because we can do some really good work from there.
I would say too, yeah, absolutely 100% because okay, to talk about a feature on Substack lately, Substack Live. Like this is and oh, it's Reels, it's this and that. The idea though, like yes, all these big things get pushed. Algorithms serve up the hot like political ones and this and that. Which I think is more evidence for people that aren't that
Mhm.
are quiet. Like
Yeah.
like people who just like we see the memes on Substack notes, like, the
Mhm.
the little toad in a hobbit home, just, with it. Like there's
The cozy
people like
blanket. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
cup of
yeah, this is
tea.
the life I want. And like, you know what? There's all those people on here. And there could be people that come on here and present like, hi, this is like just soft spoken. You
Mhm.
and I like we're talkers. I love
Mhm.
talking. We're not for everybody, and that's fine.
Mhm.
There's space for this is my serene little space. At
Yeah,
like soft spoken,
yeah.
slow spoken,
Filled.
like lights a little lower. Maybe it's a
Mhm.
candle. Like I don't know.
Mhm.
And like I really like if there was a Substack live of like one person or two people like coming on and like with candles and a little bit of background music and they were just reading. Oh, has anyone doing that yet? Because I think they should. Like
Somebody
I
needs to. Somebody needs
y-
to. I went to a friend's book event at a little festival just down the road, and as she was reading from the story, my 4-year-old daughter crawled onto my lap, snuggled in, and fell asleep. Like, she doesn't nap. She's 4. Like, she hardly ever naps. But I felt that. I felt my whole nervous system just relax. I was just
right.
like, Sue's going to read. Big shout out to Sue Reed, actually. She's amazing. Her book is called The Adventures of Molly McFlynn, I think. Fiction. It's brilliant. Um, but Sue's going to read to me. Like, what a beautiful thing. All I've got to do is receive, sit and receive Sue's wonderful writing and reading. And that was brilliant. Like, she's a brilliant storyteller. And I was like, how do I get more of this? Like, where does that exist? But you're right. You're right. Like, we could be doing that on Substack Notes. That would be amazing. Like,
Y-
especially when it gets to about like, maybe about 10 o'clock at night, I'd be like, is anyone reading a story? Could someone tell me about the moon? Like, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing people like streaming on YouTube like ambient music. They would
Oh, no.
make
Yeah.
ambient music in real
Mhm.
time.
Hmm.
I don't know that the technology is really there yet with Substack Live. Maybe it is. There's a lot of technical stuff to that, but like,
Mm,
but something along those lines. Like,
yeah.
yeah, if I could tune into someone's live at 10 p.m. and then
Yeah.
dozing off to sleep, and someone's like, like live making ambient music for people to fall asleep to,
Yeah.
sign me up.
So nice. So nice. Yeah, there's so much potential with it. There's a couple of questions coming in. I was gonna jump into leaderboards. Seth, you want
Oh,
to be a rising star this week? So everybody was like, I think it was like Thursday. Like people were like, did you get this email? Did you get this email? The screenshotting all over my membership. It was so cool. And I was like, wait, what's going on? Like I'm always the last to know. And then of course I
hmm.
feel like I need to catch up to be able to like digest it all. But we have new leaderboards on Substack. They are called Rising Star leaderboards or something of that nature. And they sit next to the best selling people. So there's in the language bestsellers and then
Hmm.
the rising stars. Have you clocked it? Like I know there's been some chat on notes about it, and we'll come back to Mary's question in a second. But have you clocked it? How do you feel about it all?
I went on there. I saw a thing on my profile that said I was like a 57 or something. I clicked, I looked. Okay. Like
Okay. Yeah.
I no aspirations to be like, oh, I'm 50 some, maybe I can get 40, 30. I don't, and all the details of like, why is it best? Is it paid? Is it that I don't care. Like, I get it. Like the best, it seems like it would be like, oh, this can, people could go and look at the leaderboards and find you and subscribe, if you're the, but
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
for myself, I don't go looking at leaderboards for people to follow or for
Hmm.
people to read or whatever. Like, I'm just like, and I guess, yeah, sure, other people, my experiences and everybody's, I get, of course, but like for me, it's just like, Substack needs to build it. They need to put it there. And it's not for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice, and I hope that brings comfort to people as well, because this is what I've been trying to push, the nuance of that conversation, and going again back to that curator, publication owner, and reader connection, because our readers are not scrolling leaderboards. Like they're not looking at our position, they're not scrolling leaderboards. Like there's enough ways for them to discover new publications to read. The way that you will be seen on a leaderboard is if somebody who is also on that leaderboard is looking to see
Yes.
where their position is. Like, I just don't think there's that many people hanging out scrolling leaderboards. Like, because why would they need to? Like, I mean, back in the day, yes, like I did before notes existed. I went over there and like I used to look at staff picks and I used to look at like for
Hmm.
you and all of that stuff, and like that was super helpful. But once I got the people that I wanted to read, then I didn't really need to go over there anymore. And
Mm-mm.
sometimes I would go over, like if I'd had an influx of subscribers, I would be like, oh, maybe something's happened over there and that's like why these subscribers are coming. But oftentimes I couldn't find it anyway, so I was like, oh well. So yeah, it's like a Substack thing, and I've been doing some experimenting this week around the rising star leaderboard, and I've managed to shoot myself up. But I'm not surprised. Like I just, it's one of those things where it's like, it's not income, but it sort of is income as well. Like it's income, right? Because I've got a price hike coming tonight at midnight. So like if people
Mm.
want to get in on the annual, they're going to save for like 40,
Hey, now
no,
click
hang on,
click
like
up here and
60,
subscribe. Click up
60 odd
there.
pounds if they want to
Uh-huh.
do that. So it's like, so I've obviously been telling people that, and then more people are paying. Obviously gorgeous, lovely, welcome. But I've also done a live, done a post, done a podcast. Like I've been a really good substacker, so of course I'm going to shoot up that leaderboard. So I just feel like, yeah, but like we can't keep rewarding productivity. Like
Mm-mm.
where's the holistic? Like just let's have a lovely time and like be glad about that. Like it's and there's a little button now that tells me like how many more subscribers I've got in the app like this month, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, like I don't, I'm gonna have to try and retrain my brain to block that out, because
Hmm.
I've had some really big months, so already I'd be looking being like, well, negative
Mm.
talk's gonna start, and it's like
It's
I
all
haven't
over.
got time for that.
No. And I would say this too of like all of in our dashboard, when we go to the post level, we can see all these stats and stuff like that. One of the
Mm,
biggest for me is to see where our readers are from.
yeah,
And
yeah,
for
love
me, it's
that.
like
Yeah.
96% are email and like 4% are the app, which just tells me
Same. Yeah.
N- n- it's not like all of our readers, all of us, everyone,
Mm.
all 87 people on this call, not all our readers are reading on the app. A lot of them don't even have the app
No,
installed.
no, no.
So, so,
Nowhere near what I thought it would be. Every
mm-mm,
time I check, because I feel so busy when I'm on the app, and then I check and it's 4%. It's still 4% of
right.
people who read my work. And it's like
Hmm.
Substack have made it so difficult to quiet the notifications. It doesn't matter how many times we try and tell people, I'll still get asked that question. And I think they don't mean to do this, but honestly, I wish they would bring me in as a consultant sometime, and like you as well, Seth, because we'd be able to say you're giving people too much, you're overwhelming them.
Hmm.
Like people's nervous systems can't cope. Substack is not their full time job. I mean, it pretty much is my full time job, but
Mm,
I don't even get the notifications. They're all turned off. Like I've got to
yeah.
be able to crack on because notifications aren't, they're not for anything. Like they don't serve any purpose. That little
Mm-mm.
stat that tells me that I'm up 300 and whatever subscribers this month, but so what? Like stop
So
making
what?
me read stuff like that. I don't care. Like that doesn't matter because I'm here to serve the people that I'm here to serve. So I just feel like there's this whole blend of like what the tech stuff is doing and can do that is like, hey, isn't it cool? I can do this and this and this, and they all high-fiving each other, and we're all going, just stop, like stop with the things. Like we're all fine without all the things. Yeah, it's too much all at once, and this is always what happens, and the fallout is, and this is a reality, I get people that cancel their paid memberships and leave Substack because they're literally about to have a nervous breakdown. They're like, Claire, I thought this was my platform. I thought I was going to make it work, and I actually just can't. And like, let me know if you ever do anything else. Anywhere else. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And I'm so sorry. Like, but you can't, like when someone's inbox has got that hairy and someone's notifications have just got that bananas, like you can't really bring them back from that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that is my like my current little moan, I guess, like wobble, because it's just like I have to hold them steady. Like I really have to hold them steady so they can do their best creative work, and I have to hold myself steady as well. And I just feel like it would be easier if we just got like a bit of a run of like this is what Substack is now without it keeping changing and like offering more things and moving the button to post comments over to the left instead of it being on the right. Anyway, I want to get back to some of these questions and comments and stuff because I just did a
we
monologue there.
Yeah, we got some great comments about the live, like people
Mm,
doing like quiet stuff. Christy Keller said I saw one guy just typing in his live, not even talking. Someone's planning on doing live meditations. Awesome. So-
gorgeous. Yes,
Someone
yes, yes, yes.
joked,
Live journaling. There was a live journaling thing as
yeah,
well. It'd be
yeah.
gorgeous.
What a
Yeah, I
great.
love that.
Hey, everything's on mute. It's maybe it would be it'd
Yeah.
be fun with two people to do like to
Mm,
have an intro. To, you're promoting your Substack, and this other
yeah.
person is promoting theirs. Cool. We're
Yeah.
holding space. This is what we're doing. We're just going to
Yeah.
journal together. That'd be
Yeah.
amazing. Yes.
That
Yeah.
sounds really nice. And I think my advice to people has been like use the scheduling tool. So Seth used it to
Mhm.
schedule our live, but
First
unfortunately
time
it
ever.
doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't like notify my subscribers, but I sent them an email to tell them that I was doing this. So, they could make a little mark on the calendar. People worry about sending the email to say, oh, Claire Venus has gone live. Like they worry about that email. Like I'll do it every other time. I'm not going to do it every time, especially if I've
Hmm.
got a couple in a month, but I do send it because more people will jump on. Like that is just the nature of things. And I do think it is back to the creative bothering, that Cody Cook Parrott talks about. Because if I get a notification that someone's going live, I either want to go on or I don't. Like I'm not like, oh, that's so annoying. Like I don't care. I'm like, oh no, not today, or I
Totally.
haven't got time, or it's like it's fine. Like it's just a non-thing, really. So yeah, it's more notifications from Substack, but it's actually in service to the people who want to be there. And if people's nervous systems are just too full of notifications that day, they can just delete the email and move on.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. There's a degree of like, I can't be responsible how other people feel about all that stuff.
Yeah,
If it's too
yeah,
many, if it's this, that, if it's too many and you need to unsubscribe, go. We're cool. Even when I get
yeah,
like paid unsubscribes and people leave things, I don't want to read it. I don't want to see it. Like you do what you got to do. It's cool.
yeah,
We're cool.
yeah.
Um,
And it's that thing of like, it's hard. Like if you ask somebody for feedback,
e-
sometimes that is the most beautiful thing that you've ever read, and other times it isn't, and sometimes in those unsubscribes, people have some personal stuff going on, and like there's a little line about that, and like I'll just reach out
Sure.
and be like, do you need a comp? Because honestly, like I'm here, I'm doing the work anyway,
Mhm.
like
I've done
come on
that. Yeah.
in. Yeah, and I love doing that because it brings the human back into the online space. Like it's got, for me, like it's like we lose the humanity a bit because of social media metrics and because of vanity metrics, and like we build up pictures of who people are in our minds. And whenever I do like a big honest share over on Creatively Conscious, like I'm always like a tiny bit nervous but also relieved that I can just be like, things have been really hard, guys, and this is why, and this is what's been going on. And like I'm conscious and careful with that as well, but it's like I don't want people to just think, oh, like everything's amazing for like this person on the internet that I don't even know, because that doesn't help any of us. Like it's messy.
Hmm.
It's always messy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at the end of the day, it's not, we talk about subscribers or, paid subs. These are people. These
Just
are
people,
people.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just like you
and
and I are, yeah.
so yeah, it's messy. Like we're not robots. We are not, I hate using this word, but we're not content machines. We're,
Mm-hmm.
we're real people behind here. And
Yeah,
I didn't get my newsletter out on Monday. It went out on Tuesday. It's fine. We're good. It's
fine.
all right. But
Yeah.
like whatever. And so yeah, there can be so much humanity here, especially in the long form, especially as
Mm-hmm.
it's an email, especially as someone opens your email and they choose
Mm.
to read that. They're not just scrolling between this, that, and the other
Yeah.
with like a meme up here and like genocide down here.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did that for so long, but like,
Mm.
if they're reading your email, that's such an opportunity. I mention that so much to my clients of like every email opened is an opportunity. Like,
Mm.
and it's an email that you only need to send maybe once a week. You can do
Mm-hmm.
so much with that one email.
Yeah.
You don't have to be constantly putting stuff out,
Yeah.
especially with a newsletter. You don't
Yeah.
need to social media taught us you got to post 3 times a day. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to be here. You got to be there. You could send an email once a week and
Mm.
you'll probably be good.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good. And I think the other thing to say about that, because the email that is also a post on Substack,
Yes.
I'll try consciously to reshare it to notes at least twice. So
Yes.
I'll just pick a line or two out of that and just share it to notes. And if I've got more energy, I might try and say some more about it. But if I haven't, I just do that. And that is what ups the views. So if I've had a month where I've been on the app less, so like I was away in March twice and I was away, so my
Hmm.
views are down, and it doesn't mean anything. It's because I've not physically been there to like reshare. So it was probably like slightly less posts went out, which is fine, but I also wasn't there to like remind people, or hey, if you
Hmm.
missed this post, like, or find new people and stuff like that. So I love that we have that opportunity to like turn our energy up or like quieten it down. And I think that there's so much more. I wish that Substack would roll out like the opportunity to be able to voice note people in the DMs. And I know people were really upset about DMs when they first came in, but mine have always been set to paid subscribers.
Hmm.
So for my members on Sparkle and Substack, it's beautiful because I know anybody messaging me is a paid member and needs something. And so I want to be able to help them. I don't want to have to like filter everything through. So, but sometimes the question is, it needs some nuance, it needs some explanation, and that's going to take me like 20 minutes to be able to like write all of that out. Whereas when I voice note them, I'll just hop over to their Instagram and we just have a chat backwards and forwards, and like I just love that connection. They get to know me more, I get
Hmm.
to know them more, like I get to hear the voice behind the Substack publication and feel closer to the work that they're doing. So I love that stuff. Like all the depth of connection stuff is like what really sets me on fire. And it's like, yes, there's this other funnel of stuff going on, but it's only part of the picture, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. I offer email guidance, which has been really fun because I've gotten away from one-to-one like Zoom work kind of because for me personally it was just draining
Mm,
to for that much effort. So now I do work via email. It's like one to
yeah,
one, but in email.
yeah,
But
nice.
because it's an email, I can also send links to videos I make people
Yeah,
or an audio clip or whatever.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
love doing that.
yeah.
Someone wrote me and I was that it was forget exactly what it was, but it was like, oh, it was just like about being themselves. And it
Mm.
was like, oh my goodness, I fired up my phone, I got my phone, I turned it, and I made them a video, like spoke right into it, and uploaded it to, I use Clean Shot
Okay.
on my Mac. It lets you do that. You can upload it. It gives you a link. I sent them a link. I emailed them the link. I'm like, hey,
Okay.
hey, I wrote this. Here it is. Click the link.
Yeah,
They loved it. They absolutely loved it, and
that's
we're working
nice.
together a bit now. Yeah, and but yeah, that direct, like off, almost offline. It's not. It's email,
Mm-hmm.
but like, but yeah, DM, getting on Instagram, chat with someone goes so far, and that's
Yeah.
all from email. Like
Yeah, all from
it's
that first, yeah, connection. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So um that I think is such a huge way of rethinking just a subscriber list. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
have X amount, I have X amount. Well, how many have you ever talked to? You know,
Yeah,
how many do you
yeah.
really know?
Oh, I want 20,000 subscribers by my sort of 70th birthday. Well, do you want to talk to
Sh-
some of them first, and then you'll
Sure.
actually understand who they are? Yeah.
You could,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, could you get coffee with one of them?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
could you meet them? I've seen that. I've seen people from my weekly Zoom calls. Two people one week didn't make it. I think one of them's on this call today, but they sent a photo of themselves at a market. They're like, "Hey, we're here." Like,
Oh, that's
wait,
so nice.
you're from the Zoom call I organized? Like, you met and now you're at this thing. It was like amazing.
So nice. So nice. Yeah.
So it's so easy, and it's almost like, oh well, this is the thing you have to do. You have to get X amount of thousand followers and this, or
Mm.
subscribers. Go with the joy of like, I know two people I can get coffee with, like in San Francisco, or something. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
that's really nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I flew over to New Orleans, I had like I was a bit nervous, like just a couple of days leading up to it because
mhm,
I didn't know anybody that was going to the conference, right? And just I was just unsure. I'm like, okay, like it's probably going to be mainly fiction. Like that's not necessarily like my world. Like I tend to work with a lot of people that like to write memoir or nonfiction. And so I was like, just trying to work it out, like your body's trying to keep you safe. I'm like flying like a really long way and stuff like that. And I got a message from somebody who's taken one of my courses and wrote for my anthology, Stacey, she's called Stacey Smith Rogers. She'd actually sent me a bag of coffee and like a
oh,
handwritten letter all the way from America last year, and she messaged me and she was like, I'm going to be at the conference in New Orleans, do you want to get dinner? And I was like, I'm so excited. And it was like so nice. And so yeah, we went to like a St. Patrick's Day parade together with a couple of our colleagues and my friend. We went for dinner, we went for drinks, like we just hung out and drunk coffee together. And I was like, this is the most beautiful thing that could have happened, right? Because
mhm,
obviously you don't know, whenever you're going anywhere, something like that, like a conference or whatever, you're not sure. Of course, you're going to make connections and stuff, but the fact that we'd had that connection already on
mhm,
Substack and like had, and she'd sent me a package through the post, which I just thought was the most beautiful thing. So yeah, so it was really, really nice. And I do think that that stuff is important to us keeping balanced in the work that we're doing, because it just keeps us really close to, yeah, there's a bit of like, there's a bit of just staying human. I think
mhm.
like it's easy to stay within your four walls and like type away on the internet, but our human biology wants to exchange, like we want to exchange energy with other people, and it's different, isn't it? It's special, it's electric, like you can get so much more nuance if you're with people. It's nice. So
Y-
yeah,
y-
like if you guys feel like that is an opportunity, like if you feel like that could happen, like have a look, because there are always loads of meetups. But also I think Louise is on the call, someone called Louise Morris who's in my membership is starting to
mhm,
set up Livestack, it's called. So it's relatively
mm.
new, Livestack, but it's going to be listings of like retreats and get-togethers, like all real
Oh,
life stuff. So I think she's gonna like catalog it all, and she's doing like a shout out and stuff like that. I've not looked properly, but
that's great.
I love that. Substack used to do a bit of it, but obviously they got too busy. Hi Louise. They got too busy, so they couldn't. Somebody
Sure.
said, Seth, or Mary. So Mary's saying only if very few will comment. I try to engage them deeper, but not sure why we can't seem to go deeper. So Mary, I think, is saying I'm looking for more comments, like I'm looking for more traction here. Mary, if you know your human design, find out what your human design is, and what numbers you've got in your chart, because this can be really helpful. So rather than you feeling like, oh, I need this stuff and it's not happening, you can understand like why you need that stuff and why that would really fuel you on. So mine's projector, but you might be manifesting generator, and if you are, that's people that need that kind of input and stuff like that. Anyway, that was an aside. Seth, have you got
No, I
anything for
love that.
Mary there?
No, I love that. Yeah, I saw that comment and wanted to remark that not sure why we can't seem to go deeper. So much of this, I really feel, is comes down to taking the lead, of being a leader, of like taking the risk, taking the chance of sending that person a DM saying, "Hey, what's up?" Safely, of course. Dudes, don't be careful with this. Don't you be creeping with any non-dude.
No creeping.
Women have it hard enough on the internet. We don't need to but taking a leadership role of like, this is my publication, I'm welcoming people into it, and if you see kind of a person show up in your comments every now and again, like, reach out, find out, set up a Zoom call, or if you see people that show up every now and again, anything with like a Zoom call or a live like this, it doesn't need to be a formal announcement. You don't need to put it in your next newsletter and say, "Hey, I'm doing this for everybody." You're allowed to do it privately for like,
Yeah,
find 3 people and a
yeah,
friend maybe like that. Hey,
yeah,
you should do this. These are some cool people. Like, do that. Like
yeah,
that's totally like off-roading off of the Substack thing, like, and using tools that aren't here, but that you can. I've learned so much by doing weekly Zoom calls with my
yeah,
subscribers,
yeah.
and they started small. They started two, maybe 1 or 2 people, and I
Same,
asked
same.
friends,
Yeah.
to come on the call too, so it wasn't just me. And
Yeah,
it
and
took me a long time.
that's a really good tip, Seth, because people don't want to feel that no one's going to show up. So having some supportive friends, colleagues, like I say to the sparklers all the time, like post it in here, give people a free like 30 days or whatever to your publication
Mhm.
when you're getting started, because then that's going to feel like something. But yeah, like the 3 people that were on my very first sparkle call are still in my membership today, and I love that. But when I was going on that call with like 3 of them, I was like, okay, here we are. Like, we're doing a thing, like this is going to be something. Like, I'm
Mhm.
really excited about it. But also, like, I also felt like a complete fraud. It was 3 people, and I'm like, they're all looking at me. And I'm like, I want to do this, but I can only do this because you're here. So it was like a weird, like, up level of exchanges going on for me. It was brilliant. And I think you're so right. Like, there's something in, and I say this a lot, that we think people understand how to navigate Substack. If you're saying, I'll meet you in the comments, like leave me a comment, you've got to teach them how to use Substack. You've got to get them to download
Mhm.
the app. You've got to get them to come over to the Substack website. If they're receiving an email that says, I'll meet you in the comments or leave me a comment, what? Like, it's an email.
Yeah.
Like, so that
Hit
doesn't
reply.
translate.
Yeah. Tell people, hit reply, and
Yeah,
you'll
hit
you'll
replies,
contact me
nice.
directly.
Yeah, because you can get, and I do that. Like, so when I do an email from my email service provider and not Substack, I'll quite often
Mhm.
say, hit reply. I'm a human on the other side of a laptop. I'm right here.
Yeah.
Just to try and break the fourth wall a bit and be like, I love to hear from people. Like, I genuinely, if I am writing that email and I've heard from like 10 people that week, it's easier for me to write the email because like I can picture them, right? So that stuff's nice. Oh, my husband's on there. He's saying, Seth, you described yourself as a talker earlier, but I'm watching 2 great listeners. Wonderful exchange. Oh,
Thank
David,
you.
so you
Thank you.
know that I got my husband David a paid subscription for Social Media Escape Club because of the
Yep.
live that we did together. So that was it. So good
Wow.
tracking back of all the things we met on your
Yeah.
live.
Oh
We
my
decided we
goodness.
were going to do a live. We didn't know each other. I listened to you interview Cody Cook Parrott, loved it. Was like, yeah, this is going to be really cool. And then after our live, I was like, I'm going to get David this voucher for Christmas because,
That's
like,
right.
there's part of him that like adores music and like adores the world of social media and like thinking about it all in the same way that you do. So I don't
Mhm.
think he's made a Zoom call yet, but I think he will.
I,
He's doing a face
that
melt now. He's
I
probably just
love that
downstairs. I
so
don't even know
much.
where he is.
That's so amazing. Go back to Mary, that said weekly Zoom call. Can you say more about what you did? Really,
Mm,
for me, it was like, I mean, social media escape club. It's always kind of been amorphous of like what we're kind of doing. Like, when I started my newsletter, it was called Heavy Metal Email, because I wanted to get heavy metal bands. That's the world I work in, my day job. I wanted to get more metal bands to have email lists, get off social media. It did okay, but like my main audience came from people sharing my work, saying, "Hey, this is for metal bands, but it works for photographers too. It
Yeah,
works for the artists too." I was like, "Oh," and then I talked to Sarah Faye. I changed my name, and here we are. But to Social Media Escape Club. But so those first few calls were really like, "Hey, we want to not be on social media so much. Let's just get together and talk."
yeah.
And that was like a year and a
I
half
think
ago.
that's the common theme, right? Like that's the invite piece. So like you
Yes.
can't be like woolly, like come on a Zoom. Like it's got to be like why? Like people just need to understand the boundaries around it and like a bit of a like hook, isn't it, to like come to that Zoom? Yeah.
Hmm. If you go to, not a sales pitch, I swear, but if you go to my
Do a
profile,
sales pitch, Seth.
well,
Come
sales
on,
pitch,
like come
I got a call today at
on.
2 p.m. Eastern. Like, come on, come on.
He's not
But
even
no,
had
really,
enough
like,
coffee yet. He's ready.
if you come to my Substack, there'll be a main post at the hero post, whatever, about my Zoom calls.
Well
But I
done.
describe it as it's a bunch of creative people that are on this journey of trying to get away
Mhm.
from social media, and it's just a whole lot more fun together, like
Yeah,
talking about
the
it.
community
It
aspect. Yeah,
You're not coming in there and it's me saying, okay, do one and do two, and then you'll have immediate success. We're all bouncing ideas off of each other, and
nice.
like I
Yeah,
facilitate that to a degree. But like, and sure, sometimes I'll be like, this big social media thing just happened. Let's talk about that. And then it
yeah.
goes where it goes. And that's another thing about Zoom room kind of magic is get the right people in the room and
Mm,
it just works. Like you'll be
yeah,
able to riff on X, Y, and Z.
yeah.
It might not be for everyone. I've had people get a paid subscription, show up for one or two calls and bolt, and that's
Mm,
fine.
that's
Like I
fine.
can't, it's not
Yeah,
for
that's
everybody.
all good.
So super duper stress. If you're going to do something like that, it's not like, oh my goodness, it's not growing. It's not, you're finding your people.
Yeah,
And as you find your people, you're just going to hone and like better understand how whatever you write about or whatever the work you do is just going to get better from that.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree with that. And it's really beautiful to spend time on Zoom with people when you really open up the invite. So like because like my work as an engagement consultant before I came to Substack, like this was what it was about, but in real life, right? In festivals and events and like in young
Mm,
people's projects and in art and exhibitions and stuff. And so on Zoom, like I'm constantly testing that boundary. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, like we have to record the call because I've promised that to everybody in different time zones. But at the end of the call, I'm going to switch the recording off and we'll just be here
mm.
together. And people love it. Like
Oh
people
wow.
speak who have never spoken before. We have a nice chat. Like people talk over each other and it doesn't matter because it's not like, oh, sorry, sorry. Like it's like, oh, yeah, that's what, because it's hard, So it's like
Hmm.
acknowledging all of that. And I really love that work. So obviously in business, it makes sense to be business savvy and record your Zooms and like have it in a way that somebody can catch up and stuff. And that's fine. But on the human element, I love pressing stop and just being like, okay, like we're all in the room. Like that just
Hmm.
feels really nice. And so maybe the boundaries around the call could be that like I'm not going to be recording the call, like we're just getting together.
Yes.
Because we forget that we can do that. We don't have to be in service to all of the different time zones. We can just be in service to the people who can make it live, and that's that, isn't it? So it's super interesting. Like so many people say, ooh, a nice
The art
book.
The Art of Gathering
Oh, that sounds nice. I'm going to write that
by
down.
Priya Parker. Amazing book for like like this is for like in-person meetings and all that kind of stuff,
Nice.
but super good information, helpful for like holding and making space in a Zoom call, how it works, setting expectations, like
Yeah.
really good. Just leaving this up for anybody else to write down. The Art of Gathering.
That's so cool.
And
Yeah.
if you just Google it, that name, the Art of Gathering book, like you'll find their Priya's website. It's amazing. They do a
Mm.
course about that kind of stuff, holding great meetings and all
Hmm.
that stuff too. So yeah, really helpful.
I feel like there's something as well in us all, and for everybody on the live or who wants to watch the replay, there is something about pushing the creative boundary, like just because, and we do have people that have been in corporate and all that sort of thing, like, a Zoom doesn't have to be like what we have formulated a Zoom to be
Hmm.
because of all the Zooms that we've been on. Like we can feel and approach things differently in that. Like we can invite people to like light a candle and grab their favorite pens and like
Yeah.
get themselves extra comfy. Like don't just start, like don't fall into Zoom. Like let's pause for a minute. Do you need a cup of tea? Like do you need to pop to the bathroom? Like that stuff, like
Hmm.
you don't have to like abandon yourself to make the Zoom on time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like there's all that stuff.
Oh no, I think
Stay more
there
human
you are.
and get to that kind of deeper level with understanding who's here, the easier it is to do the writing work that we want to do as well, because it doesn't have to be mixed media. Like we're not saying that. Like you can definitely do the writing work and that is the work, but if you want to understand.
And I lost you. Is it because we went an hour? Are we getting told? Are we getting turned off here? Are the Substack out? Is the Substack algorithm just? Oh no! Look at that. That's a bummer. That is a bummer. Everybody, though, we've gone over an hour on that. I think I'm still live. Am I still here? Yeah, I'm still live there. Okay. That's been over an hour. Major bummer that it got cut off like that. I don't even know how if they can if Claire can rejoin. Um Alyssa, this is literally just the phone and some earbuds. That's all it is. It I've used Riverside for recording like podcast stuff and that works great. There's a lot of bells and whistles. This though is so nice. I almost try to get everybody that I interview on here because afterwards you end this call and it'll save the video to a draft on Substack, which you can then download. It's watermarked, but this is such a great setup. And there's also like a new musician setting or a music setting for musicians to be here with acoustic guitars or like speakers and stuff and perform. I forget. That's the mute button. Um, wide spectrum audio for musicians. We recommend only using the wide spectrum if you're playing music in your live video. So there's that too. Um, Everybody, holy moly, over 100 people. It's amazing. Last pitch, I guess, Social Media Escape Club. I'm doing a live call today at 2 p.m. It's for paid subscribers. If you're like, whoa, I got to be on there. I don't get paid till Friday. DM me. We'll get you in there. But absolutely, there'll be a replay of this. I'll post it on mine. Claire will post it on hers. It'll be good. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Subscribe. Subscribe to Claire's. See you around. DM. See you on the notes. Thanks everybody for showing up. 100 people. You're great on a Thursday. Have a great rest of your day.